Welcome everyone to another episode of the Micheaux Film Club. My name is MJ.
This is Omega.
Najee, hey.
You got Gabriel.
This is Dorian. What's up?
And we are here to talk about Harriet, the movie.
Ugh.
Good tea.
Good, bad, and ugly
Yikes.
of Harriet, the movie. Audience, are y'all ready to hear us talk our shit?
We
Not all
butcher
black.
knives.
I think before we get into the whole butcher knife thing, we should probably talk about Harriet Tubman a little bit, like the background, like Harriet's, like who is Harriet Tubman to us? You know what I'm saying? It's like she's kind of like an iconic figure, and
She's a badass woman.
she's a really badass woman. They're talking about put her on the $20 bill. You know what I'm saying? Like
Where that at though?
I know when is it gonna happen?
They're not
like
gonna.
4 years old.
Where that at
And
though?
we have yet to see
I,
the
for
results
one, don't
of
want
that.
that to happen. I don't want to see Harriet Tubman in a stripper's thong at the strip club. Like I don't want to see her face
And that's money to you?
in the middle of a G-string.
I wouldn't wanna
That's
be on the-
disrespectful.
I think
I wouldn't want to be on the
economy
dollar bill
wise,
either.
I don't know if people's giving $20 to strippers.
Ballers.
I mean, they'll give them $20. It's just gonna be in ones. They're gonna be in ones. You know what I'm
Yeah, we
saying?
still giving George Washington's out here.
Yeah.
No, damn.
You ever
That's
been to
affordable
Miami?
income.
Because that's what's happening.
Right.
Anyway, would you like to say that?
Yeah.
Put that in ugly?
Sure.
You got that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, Harriet meant a lot to me. You know, she was a black woman from Maryland. I'm also from Maryland. You know what I mean? That's significant. You know, and she focused on not contributing to white oppression any more than she needed to. You know what I'm saying? Like what she did was kind of unreal, you know what I'm saying? Going back and forth between Maryland and Philadelphia, on the movie it looks very romanticized and very, like almost like a video game, you know what I'm saying? But she actually there was actually a real live person doing these things, and that's something to acknowledge and respect, Irregardless how you feel about the movie, whoever Harriet Tubman was, I don't feel like the film portrayed her. I mean, it's hard to portray somebody who you have very little
That
information
bomb.
on.
And she did amazing things.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
It's hard to take like one film and say this is how she was, but
And it's not going to be that one.
it's not. I mean, for a lot of
How
people,
you really
it's
feel,
definitely not. But yeah, I just think it's before we go in, we should this is nothing against Harriet Tubman. This is more like our opinions on the film itself.
Harriet Tubman was the bee's knees.
It's mostly against Hollywood.
Yeah, we could say that. We could say that.
And, its portrayal. Just for anybody that hasn't seen Harriet, is directed by Cassie Lemons. So,
She did Eve's Bayou.
Yeah, Eve's Bayou. Check that out.
Very good film. Pretty
Eve's
iconic.
Bayou was a good film. Let's just
She's strong on the
Make it
emphasis
clear.
there.
So her whole filmography isn't completely terrible, right?
Yeah, I could tell Najee really loved this movie. Just
So
speak
shall
so
I start
glowingly
the good,
of
bad,
it.
and the ugly?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I just want to say
on.
though, just to start out, that this woman, doing all the things she did, the way I imagined her was, almost superhero-like, and a warrior, and someone who was fearless in the faces of extreme adversity in her time. So, and just the mysticism about her and all that good stuff, it's something that I really craved for in this movie, which I got and I didn't get.
So maybe we should start talking about what you did get in terms of positive things. Maybe we should start talking about what do we like.
I think everybody should list their good, bad, and ugly.
All right,
Yeah.
bet.
Let's
You want to
do
go
it.
last or first? Because I know you
You on fire right
go
now.
off.
I am
You-
not.
Eve's Bayou was a good film. This shit was garbage.
I
Shit.
am not. I mean, I am, but I'm not.
So I
all right,
like
let's
the
start it off then.
performances. Cynthia Erivo, I like her. She's really cool.
I agree.
She's a really great actor, and Janelle Monáe was dope as well. I even liked Bigger, the guy that played Bigger. That was the guy, the bounty hunter that went after him. The white guy, I don't know how I feel about him.
He was terrible. He was fucking terrible.
Okay.
Do we say
Okay.
fuck
Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah,
can say
you
we
know,
can
you
curse.
can could do all that.
Okay.
Just say-
Let's save the white guy for
Express
bad
yourself.
decisions. There's no rules. There's
Express
no rules,
yourself.
Is
Okay.
that meeting? Yeah, he was fucking terrible. Everything that he did was so fake. When he choked her sister, Harriet's sister.
Oh yeah, disclaimer.
He like wasn't even
There's
holding
definitely
her.
spoilers in this.
Yeah, there's spoilers, guys.
Yeah.
There's
I'm gonna
spoilers.
tell you the whole movie, so you
Yeah,
never
so
have
you
to
never
go
have
watch
to go.
it.
Not much happens. Not much happens in the whole movie.
Yeah, everything he did was just like so fake and weird and contrived, and I can't believe that that they just let him get away with that. Like they couldn't find any other white male actor. There's so many white male actors, first of all, in America. You couldn't find one that could just be a dick and a slave owner convincingly.
They could have got Leonardo DiCaprio.
They couldn't
I mean,
afford
he was-
him. Please,
he was on
he never
Django.
agreed to do
He
this
was
trash
Django.
movie
Right.
ever.
I
Like,
mean, they was about to
We're,
have
we're
Julia
still in,
Roberts.
we're still in the good,
Harriet.
guys. Guys, we're still in the good. We're still in the good.
Okay, but like, but that's something I'm like, whoa.
Oh,
Like,
we're still in the good. All right. Then.
okay, my bad. Yeah, cute. Let's stay on a good note.
It's not really
Sorry,
much.
dude.
We could do that real quick. Here we go. It was made.
Did you
Next.
like it?
Yeah, right.
Was there anything about the movie that?
I got that on my notes.
Anyway.
the one thing that I did like about the movie was the actress who played Harriet. I thought she did a great job. I thought that she was the only redeeming quality of the film. Cynthia Erivo was good, and it sucks that she had to be good in this movie.
She's a beast. But this will get her EGOT because I think she's close to EGOT.
Yeah,
Oh.
good for her.
Oh, really? Which ones did she
She's on
have?
Broad City
has,
too, by the way,
uh,
which is an okay show.
Grammy.
No, but
Tony.
which one did she have? Like,
Which ones does she have?
yeah, did she have Tony?
She has a Tony, Grammy, and an Emmy, I believe.
She's
Wow.
a Grammy?
Yeah, for the Color Purple soundtrack, I believe.
Oh, that's
Don't quote me on
awesome.
it. I know
Good for her.
she's close.
She's
got-
talented, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is very talented.
Yeah.
No, something about my bad about Harriet Tubman in this movie. I realized is that she's like good at navigating with no GPS. I would have been got lost. I would have been forgot everything.
In the woods at night. In the
I would
woods
have
at
been like
night.
Multiple
I would have been
times.
the worst leader. Yo. I
Multiple
would've been like,
times.
let's go left. Oh no, we supposed to go right. Oh, I think we're supposed to go back.
Recalculated.
Now we're talking about her
Recalculated.
visions. Now we're talking about Harriet Tubman's visions, which she had multiple times throughout the film. But I don't know how y'all feel about this.
No,
my
but that's
good
that's
part
that's
and
the
the
thing.
bad.
Yeah, that's my good part.
That's a good part.
That's my bad part.
What? Come on.
Okay.
That's
Are we done? Are we done with
Okay.
good? Are we done with good?
Get to your
I know
good.
you were doing
I'm
your
done with
good,
good.
bad, and
I'm done with
ugly.
good. I
I
don't.
said
I know
my
I thought
good.
you were
It was
also doing your
made.
bad and ugly after that.
Oh,
I thought we
can
were
we
all
do
gonna
our
do
all
it.
our bad like at the same time?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you wanna?
So you doing your
who
good.
else has the good?
I just want. It's good that it was directed by a black woman and produced by a black woman, Deborah Martin Chase.
True.
She's
true.
another beast. She did Preacher's Wife. She was
Just drop one plus
Whitney's.
balls on it.
right. Wah, wah, wah.
I think it makes it
We'll get
worse
there.
that it was directed and produced by a black woman. Like I when I left the theater and saw who directed and produced it, I was so embarrassed
Damn.
because I left the theater and I was like, "Ooh, what white person can I blame this on?" And then I was like, "Oh my God, a black woman made this! I am so disappointed and embarrassed."
Oh.
So
Damn, all right.
I
I was
am
trying to
happy
give it some
that
love.
they got a job, but I'm so sad that they did their job to make that. Like, they did Harriet so dirty and just like film so dirty, and I'm so embarrassed.
And it took them 10 years
That
to
a
do
black
it.
woman did
She's
that.
been trying for 10 years to get this.
And like $16 million. Like,
yeah.
that is so embarrassing and disappointing, and I wish that I had an old white man to blame on this, but I don't. And that's fucked up for me.
So with that, maybe we should probably get into the bad now.
All right.
You know?
I think she already started.
Yeah.
Go off.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I need that fire extinguisher, you know.
Well, you guys had some good that you wanted to discuss.
Yeah. I mean, just the good. With the like the visions and like the whole mysticism part, I did enjoy that because, you know, she was somebody who dwelled in the unknown and like had to live in faith. So there had, you know, like, and sure, like the aspect of like mental health and all that, but I still think it is a good way to show someone's pursuit, even if it is misguided, like say, like, you know, but
I don't think they weren't trying to say she had mental health issues. It was a legitimate injury. Like, she had narcolepsy, and we do know that about her.
Right.
But what I didn't like is that they played it up so much. Like, every time you gotta go on a trip, you just gotta pass out and figure out which way to go. Yeah. Like, there was a scene where they were literally trying to figure out which way to go. The slave hunters were coming, and she just passed out. Yeah, and it was like, no, don't touch us. Don't touch Harriet. She's getting the vision from God. Like, what? Really? And then when she come on, even you was pissed when she dropped the pie. Yeah.
I know.
She dropped the pie because she passed out.
That shit look good.
You know how hard it was to make a pie in the 1800s? Like, she didn't just like pull out a pre-made pie crust.
Right.
It took 3 days to make pie.
Right.
And she started drop it.
So that's a 3-day process you just ruined.
That's okay. I'm sorry.
No. You know, I appreciate your passion for that, because that pie looks so damn good. Right. She was like putting the filling in.
Like, God damn.
I'm like, damn. My mouth was watering the whole time.
Like, I felt the anger on it. I was like, Jamaica, it's okay. Sorry.
It's like, bitch, say up.
But no, go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, for the bad for me would be like at times during the movie it felt comical.
Oh my
So
god.
it was like, yo, why am I laughing?
They gave up on drama. Halfway through they were like, we're really bad at making this dramatic and realistic. Let's just make a comedy instead.
Yeah, it was like the father, for example.
Oh my
like,
god.
like I really thought, like, you know, in the beginning it was like, okay, he's just pretending to be blind.
Right.
But then
Oh my god.
Like, he's not really blind. But then it's like, he's not blind. He just acting like he can't see. Like,
He's being a good father.
A do-rag or something, not a do-rag, a bandana on his head. I'm like, you are taking this too far, son.
like, you know,
Stop
you could just lie, right?
Right.
Like,
Okay, so
turn your back.
when he kept saying "I can't see you," I thought he was just like saying that so he didn't have any so it wasn't like
He wasn't culpable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
He
what I
wasn't
thought.
actually blind,
Yeah.
but they were making
No,
a
but-
joke of that.
Oh
and just
wow,
really
that's
kind of
crazy.
proud.
That's so crazy to me.
yeah, it was just real extra. I'm like, man, like, and you know, there was a part where I thought they took his eyes
Right,
out.
yeah,
'cause he
that's
had the
what we both
blindfold.
said that. We were like, damn, they cut his eyes out.
Yeah, that's fucked
And then we
up.
see it
Wow.
2 scenes later, this thing is walking around chopping wood. Like, wait a minute.
like, he's doing laundry or something, right? I was just like,
He was
what?
reading, like.
But if they did do that and take his eyes out, that would have been a cool like.
I mean, that would be fucked up. It would be
No, I mean it would have been fucked up.
like,
But you know what? It gave justification to that.
yeah, if
Or
they
like
took it,
fuel for her mission.
yeah,
Right,
Bad
you
his
know.
eyes out. I'm
Yeah,
coming to
pop
get all
out.
of y'all. Nah,
Took your eyes out.
Right. Yeah.
they missed the opportunity. All right, what about you, Gabe? Bad.
Oh, bad? Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much a lot of what you guys are saying. And the fact that it was the same trail the whole time. And like 3 times throughout the film, they had a showdown at the bridge. You know, that same bridge, it was kind of weird to me. And the 3rd time, I don't know if this is bad or ugly, but it was like, you know, with the character, she was a woman and, you know, this guy stopped her on the bridge and he was like, hey, hold up, aren't you this guy? And she was like, yeah, well, I don't really remember, but it was like, is this my dad or is this me? And the guy on the bridge mixed her up with her dad, and he was like,
The mulatto
you know, I was like,
girl.
hold up, this is ridiculous. Like, and hold up, the other part too, where it was like they were chasing Harriet. You know, the bounty hunter and the slave master were chasing Harriet, and like then the slave master shot the bounty hunter because the bounty hunter wanted to kill Harriet, and
Oh, he wanted her alive.
yeah, he wanted her alive, but the slave master didn't. I mean, but the bounty hunter didn't care, and I don't know. There's just so much things that I could like complain about, but it's like it is what it is. I'm glad the movie exists, I guess.
This is the time to complain. Don't
Yeah,
stop now.
I guess
Don't
I
give
shouldn't.
up. What do you mean?
I guess you're right. It was just honestly,
Do it for the green.
it was just all over the place. I guess it was just like so many things weren't. I wasn't convinced by any of the characters' motivations except Harriet. I guess none of it seemed very plausible. You know, it seemed like this film wasn't really for me personally. It seemed like it was for people who never heard of Harriet Tubman in their lives, which are like children or very old people or, you know, people who aren't black. So I guess when you take that into consideration, it's harder to, you know, say this movie sucks because you probably weren't the target audience. So
I don't think anybody with taste was though. Honestly.
Damn.
I mean that's a fair judgment. You know, that's a fair take. That's a legit fair take because
Like,
you
I
know.
don't care if you are white, black, Latino, whatever. Like it doesn't matter. Like that. I don't think that was good for anybody at all.
I don't think it was good either. I don't think it was really that great either.
If I give it a
Happy to
rating
hear you
of
say it.
4.5.
4.5. Out of a scale of what? For real? That much?
I mean, it's a bad score.
Yeah, I feel like anything under 7 is pretty bad.
Can we talk about Janelle Monáe, who I love? I love Janelle Monáe. I'm a big fan. But her acting was horrible.
It was bad. And I've liked her in other things.
Right. She's been good so far.
The script was probably really.
It was
Not
very
great.
over the top, and I don't know, so many just very on the nose gestures and looks, and
Right.
part of it was the writing too.
Yeah.
Just so, like,
It was cheesy.
not thought
A lot of cheese. Lots of cheese in this film, people.
Go off. Keep going.
Because you know what? I'm an actor, right? So I spend a lot of my day reading scripts. And like, this one got $20 million to be made. And it was just so bad. Like, I read stuff on that level with a budget of like, 25 grand. And it just blows my mind that a script of that caliber got $16 million to make. Just because, typically white America loves slave films. And so they were like, oh, this is shitty, but like, white people love slave films, so this could actually sell. Let's throw some money at this piece of shit. It was,
It's like, we haven't done a slave movie this year. Go ahead.
or for this month, this year.
Right.
It's like, come on. For me, what was bad, and who, you may have said like something for children, it did kind of get reenacty for me at times in the cinematography, and for me, my bad. We'll get to my ugly, but my bad for this film.
I feel like we're
was-
probably already in the ugly. It's probably beyond the.
Okay, well,
The
I'm
lines
gonna wait
are
on the ugly
very
still.
blurred.
But the cinematography was just, I thought it was really bad. It was always like done from a distance. We were never there with the characters, and it got very cheesy and reenactment-y.
Yeah, that scene with the I guess it was supposed to be beautiful, a beautiful shot where she was crossing over into freedom.
Right.
I asked her
Yeah.
if she wanted to walk in it, and the pullback, and then you see the landscape. It should have been
Cliche.
beautiful, but I was just like, okay.
She like jumped, and I was
forced.
like,
right.
The
Making me
most
feel
forced.
things. Right.
I got a controversial question for y'all.
What's that?
Is slavery a choice?
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Here we. This
Because this movie
it depends on who you ask.
did like it did sort of ask that question when she went to go get her sister.
That's true.
Her sister didn't have a choice because you're not going to leave your kids. That's not having a choice.
Right.
If she left, she was going to leave her kids, which goes against how a lot of mothers and animals, period, are biologically wired to protect their young. So she didn't choose to stay in slavery. She chose to stay with her child, which is a biological urge that all animals share, and that's not a fucking choice.
And not
But
only
like Harriet
that.
Tubman wanted the kid to come along. as
No,
well.
but
Like,
not only that, I was
But
going
you're
to touch on
risking
that.
life.
There's also, by that point, slavery has been ingrained. Like, you've known nothing else. You're brainwashed. We're still brainwashed and indoctrinated in this country with how we think about going up against power or things that hold us under yoke. We're still ingrained with that. So, like, for everybody to have that mindset to be free, for her to even have it was an anomaly. And look at all she did with it.
But what about the brother?
I don't remember.
Because that's
Was that the water? He did walk through the water.
And she like points the gun at him. And she's like, "You ain't going back."
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah,
was
he
being a
wanted to go
bitch,
back. Right.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody
So,
doesn't.
well, I mean, but like there is that, but like she ultimately she still gets him to go. So
And that's another thing about the whole, is it a choice? There's a lot of case by case scenarios. It's like for some people it might have been more of a choice, and some people, it might have been kind of like that would have been a very, bad choice to make, because you probably wouldn't have gotten much further in your life if you had taken.
But you're property and you're 3/5 of a man. You're not really making choices.
Exactly. So a
And
choice
then
to
you're
us,
society
yeah.
sees you
So a
as-
choice to us is different from a choice to
Right.
them.
Exactly.
Right, and if the other option is just death, what other, like, what choice do you really have? Like, you
Right.
could do this, but you might die. Like, is that really a choice? Or you can stay here and not die.
Right.
Or, at least know you're evil.
Well, apparently for some people, like Harriet, death was a better choice than living. But, that's not across the board, so.
Right, and she lived till 100.
Yeah.
So,
so she lived a very full life.
Pretty dope.
She lived a very full life.
she was a boss.
Put her on the $100 bill.
Are we ready for ugly?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll start. No one saw that coming, right?
How did I know that?
So, and I'll admit that I'm not into slave movies really in general. So I found this to be just like the same but worse than all the other ones. In that there were probably 50 roles in the film, but there were only 5 characters. There was the scared slave, the angry slave, the, kind of scared white person, the angry white person, and then Harriet. So there was no color in the personality of people. Like, I felt like everyone was so dehumanized and just defined by either being scared or being angry, and there were no shades of humanity in any of these people. And being, made by a black woman or just someone of color in general, I thought we'd finally have a slave movie that showed something else, because slaves were so much more than just scared or angry. They were full ass people, and that gets stripped out of these films all of the time, and they just become carbon copies of one another. And so I hated that, all of these characters really could have been melded into one. There was no personality. They were dehumanized, and that's fucking bullshit.
Well, when is Hollywood ever gonna humanize? Because if you think about it, to have been a slave and to have to code switch, and also to be taken from your land, where you had to learn a new language and create your own language in the Geechee culture, like, slaves were actually quite brilliant. They did all the woodwork. They did all the cotton.
I mean,
We don't get credit for
inventions that came
Right.
out during those early years
Exactly.
were us.
We're
but
us.
we just got
Because
taken-
what
we
white
got
man
taken
has to
away.
figure out how to make cotton picking faster and make a cotton gin? He's not picking cotton.
Yeah,
That's
right.
obviously the invention of a black person, somebody who's doing that work. But Hollywood's never going to show that brilliance, because then they would have to acknowledge what they've been doing to a people who's always showed their resilience, no matter what.
Yep. And that's reneging on the whole narrative that they built around our country.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, Omega.
Still going on.
No, Omega.
This is
I'd
the ugly.
love to hear
I want to hear the ugly.
No, what I didn't get from this movie was, like, which makes it so bad, is that, usually when I leave a movie, like, specifically a black movie, I usually come back empowered or, sympathetic or some version of that. But, like, this one, it just, like, felt like I was watching Drunk History. But, there was
That's
really,
a great description.
like, there was really no history that I felt like, there are lines that I'm sure, oh yeah, that's a powerful line, but, like, there was no overall theme that's like, I'm gonna take this and use it in my day-to-day life to help me. So that's what I think that I wish I would have got from it.
I feel like it's because they gave up and tried to make it Nancy Drew halfway through and just started, like, doing jokes, and at the end when she's gonna maybe kill him, but then just does this really weird long monologue that was so fucking
That was painful.
unrealistic.
That was painful.
Like, it was so presentational. She made it impossible for you to get anything historical or profound because it was so presentational.
And which that was, from what we do know of Harriet Tubman, and the reason why she had that shotgun in the movie, I'm glad they actually put that part, but she would actually cap people off.
Right.
She was known to, even black people, like, you gonna tell them, you gonna tell them I'm busting a cap in your ass. I wish they would have made her as gangster as she really was.
Yeah.
If y'all
Why
just-
did they take that away from her?
Because
They know who the audience is. They know where the income is coming from. We all know why. We all know
I
why.
haven't.
I'm starting on, it's on Hulu.
Yeah,
I heard,
it's not historically correct because there's a lot of, like, historical
Overlap
mistakes or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, but as far as, like, Harriet Tubman, the way she's portrayed, like, she's definitely a lot harder than the Harriet of this movie.
I would have liked her to play Aisha Hines.
Yeah,
I love her. She would have. Yeah. I've seen the clip of the monologue from Underground, and that was, if they got her to play it, I think it would have been better. And they could have skipped the whole controversy about British actors playing Harriet in the first place.
Is it a series or a film?
Underground is a series.
Okay.
It's on Hulu. I just started it.
Interesting.
It's pretty good.
I didn't like the end, you know, when they were pointing their guns. Like, their slaves running towards Harriet's gang, and there were, like, I guess white people behind them. And the slaves were in between them, and it was kind of like they all pulled out their guns, and it's like, if you're gonna shoot, then you're gonna shoot the slave. It's just, and this is to go along with all the other things I'm familiar about. I'm being very nitpicky at this point, but it's kind of like throughout the whole film, there's a lot of scenes that just really don't make sense and, you know, like, don't connect. But I don't know if that's something that, you know, most of the audience really cared about. Clearly the people here do, but, you know, in general, I don't know if people really, like, cared. So it's like, I could just go on, like, if we were just watch this movie right now and, like, you know, just pick out every scene, like, scene by scene, it's like 80% or 90% of the film is going to be like, all right, like, what is happening right now? You know,
it's 9 bottles of wine.
Yeah, I mean,
like, after I get this alcohol poisoning real quick, sure.
I think the ugly for me was that, like, the movie wasn't long enough. Like, you know, like, when
Same.
there's something about, like, slave movies, right? Like, it's just, you gotta, like, it's like the previous episode we talked about horror, and, like, I feel like that slave movies should flirt with it.
Yeah.
It should make you feel like, oh shit, like, I'm glad I wasn't born in that era. Like, you know, like, where that's how I feel when I watch war movies. Like, a really good war movie makes me not want to sign up for the army.
Yeah, I think they only.
That's really funny.
But, like, a lot of, like, cheesy war movies won't make you want to sign up because there's, like, there's propaganda behind it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With this one, it's like, it almost feels like there's propaganda behind it. Like, slavery wasn't that bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, yeah,
it's
no
almost
doubt.
like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
It could be fun.
Exactly. And, like,
Get your ticket to slavery today.
Like Harriet's fellow slave people, right? Like her fellow slave comrades, right? Like how,
slave
like,
comrades.
Yeah, like I didn't really see, like, the suffering the way that slaves really suffer.
Yeah, it was like cops and robbers kind of.
Yeah.
you rarely do, you know, you rarely do in the films, like, that come up.
The only thing they ever put is the whipping, you know, which and it is horrific, like, to be whipped with something that can actually take out pieces of your flesh. Yeah. But that's as far as they'll go. They won't show all the other stuff, like the devices that they had to put around people's necks when they were chopping off feet and stuff. Like, they won't actually go.
They went medieval. They really went medieval on us, and they never portray that. You never hear about how far they went. They chopped off trees while they were tied onto them.
Or
like,
how the experimentation of black bodies is how we have modern gynecology right now. Because he used to, what's his name, John Sim, he used to operate on slave women without anesthesia because blacks, quote unquote, felt no pain. They would never show that kind of stuff. So, like, I feel, that's definitely. They should have just, that's my only gripe. They should have just kept her.
Your only? Don't lie.
No.
I mean, there's so much. There's so much.
So many gripes.
Talk shit
But
for
my
30 minutes.
biggest
That's
gripe-
my only gripe. You know. Everything else was great.
I love it when she, like, did that Sound of Music moment on the hill when she was free. I love that.
Oh my god.
So wonderful. I was really waiting for her to bust out, like, the hills of love. Like, I was waiting for it. Like, damn.
Or when she was in the with the other people in the Underground Railroad, like, she first got introduced to the Underground Railroad, and she was, like, talking to all those people, and then they put her name on the thing. I was like, it's like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's like you get your name marked down on the thing.
Traveled 6 months. And
Yeah,
brought
or when
back
they went
15 people
to the
Gold
place.
Star.
It's just, I don't know.
Right.
It's just
Do
a
you
lot.
guys remember when she went back to find her husband after X amount of time? And we're like, we're shown the voyage, and then she gets pulled over by the white cop, and it's like drama. And then all of a sudden, she just pops up behind the shed of her ex-husband's house.
Talk about her running.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like,
She would creep up from behind a tree.
And she would do this call and response thing. She's like, ooh.
Right? Like,
And then they would look back like, Harriet?
Right.
like blood signs and shit.
It was like cartoon status, and people were just popping out of stuff because they were stick figures. I was like, what's going on here?
I mean, it was Disney.
it was very Disney. That's a great way to describe
If
it.
Disney made a slave movie, it would be Harriet.
I'm
Like
surprised she
Robin
wasn't
Hood.
talking to the birds and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, kinda. She was talking to the sky for directions, so
I mean, like she was a crusader.
we're not far
for,
off.
Facts.
But Disney made a movie called Huckleberry Finn.
Oh,
And in the book,
well.
they're naked on that fucking raft. Just saying.
And gratuitous use of the N word, but Disney wouldn't put that in there.
What?
Although they've done like, what was that? Was it Dumbo? They actually took that out of versions now.
Oh,
The
Jim Crow.
Crows. Yeah.
Those are. I like those guys. I think they're.
You have just lost your black card. Hand
I mean, like.
hand it over.
I think crows are a really cool metaphor for. I think crows are cool.
No, not these crows.
Oh, I mean, I know what those crows represent. I know it's like, I know what that is, but it's, I mean, if you're gonna make me an animal,
I'm not gonna lie, I thought you
all right, I'm saying a lot of really bad things.
You can give me your black card
No,
too.
no, look, I'm not originally from the States. When I first
Oh,
moved
all right.
here,
Okay, fine.
I thought Jim Crow was an actual human being who put like laws called Jim Crow laws.
We should talk about the difference between Canada and here.
Oh, there's definitely racism in Canada. That's not
For
front.
sure.
Like, that's
There's
it.
racism
Like,
everywhere.
it's just a different level of racism.
Did
So if you
Canadians like Harriet?
That's what I was gonna ask him, like, if you
Guys,
feel like
follow us
Canada-
on Twitter and let us know.
Canada. Let us know.
Join our Slack channel and let us know if you're racist.
Does anyone have any closing comments on Harriet?
Don't go see it. Wait for it to come out.
Wait till it's on BET.
Yeah, basically.
Get drunk or high and watch it, and
That's what we did.
tell us how you really feel.
Black women are amazing. She fucked up, but the rest of us, we're still out here holding it down, doing what we can.
No, for real. Do your own research about Harriet Tubman, for real, and hit us in the comments. You can check us out at where we at? MJ, where we at?
Yeah. On Instagram, the Micheaux Film Club, and on Twitter, the Micheaux FC. Check us out on that, and and Patreon and YouTube, Slack, all that, all the same names.
Drop us some coin. I guarantee you, if you drop us some coin, we'll make something way better than Harriet. Definitely.
Absolutely. We will redo Harriet. We can redo Harriet and make it 10 times better.
If you're an actor, if you love films, just follow us and
Spread the word. Tell a
spread
friend.
the word, spread it to your friends and family and whoever, your side chick, your side man, anybody.
I hope you're being open and honest about your side chick or your side man. Because honesty is the best policy, y'all.
That's the word of the day.
Have a great week, everyone.
All right, we out. See you next time.